Typically when you sign up for something, whether it be a job, a club or a website, you usually have an idea of what to expect. You sign up for a football club to play football, McDonald's to make burgers, Twitter to hate yourself. But sometimes you sign up to something and you think you know what to expect, and out of nowhere something so drastic happens that make you think, what the fuck happened? That was my experience working with a certain Vtuber agency in late 2021. Doxing, favoritism, YouTube botting, nepotism, unpaid labor, lack of professionalism, accusations of grooming, accusations of pedophilic behavior, trying to sue a minor. These were all the things that this particular Vtuber agency was involved in. The first time I had come into contact with this agency was through the YouTube comment section. I was watching a live stream highlight video from one of the Vtubers in this agency, and their videos were very poorly edited. So me, being the editor I am, gave some constructive criticism in the comments. The Vtuber replied to me thanking me for the critique and said that I had piqued the interest of their manager who would like to get into contact with me. And just like that, I met this VTuber's manager, who just so happened to be the owner of the agency. Let's call him Peter. Peter asked me if I can edit videos for the agency, but first wanted to see what I can do. So he gave me the duty of editing one of the VTuber's trailer video, which was a pretty big deal because typically a VTuber trailer video is the first thing you see of a VTuber. It's usually what determines if you watch a VTuber or not. So it being used as a test was kinda strange, but I did it anyway. And after a week of editing, I had it done. So I show it to Peter and he's loving what he is seeing, so much so that he wants to post it on YouTube. So he offered me a grand total of 200 Rand, which equates to 10 American dollars for a week of editing, which is ridiculously low. But at the same time, this was supposed to be a test edit, so getting paid for it was actually pretty nice. And then came the red flags, because it took this man 3 days to send over the 200 Rand. 3 days! I had found it very strange that he had took so long to send it over, but I was still willing to give this man the benefit of the doubt. I thought maybe something went wrong with his account or something. Surely he can't be slow to pay for everything, right? Right? So a couple weeks goes by and the DMs between me and Peter are kinda dry until he mentions that he wants to start the second generation of his company where he hires new talents to join. He also told me how he needed someone who could help with editing and marketing for the VTubers, and he entrusted that to me, making me the head of marketing. And I say this in very big quotation marks because there was only one person under me. At this point, I just continued working for the VTuber that I had edited the trailer for. But that's when some notable red flags started popping up because I wasn't given contact to the VTuber I was working with. Instead of getting added to a Discord with the VTuber in question, anything I wanted to communicate to her had to be through Peter. Also, there were 2 editors in this entire agency, me and a guy I'll call Ed. And both of us could kinda tell that something was up. Why were we isolated from the people we were supposed to be working with? Why was everything so monitored? Were we even gonna get paid for our services? These were all valid questions that we had to ask ourselves. Fast forward a couple weeks and the VTuber I had been working with all this time graduated and left the company. And I didn't know a single thing about this. No one told me. At this point, 2 of the 4 original VTubers had left the company. I then get a Discord call. It's Peter, and he's not alone. I see all the VTubers working for the company, and a bunch of others I don't know in the call. So I answer. Peter says that there's been a lot of allegations from the newly signed talent, and that he wants to get into contact with lawyers because they are saying a lot of damaging things behind Peter's back. And I'm still confused because I don't know what's happening. So I ask Peter and he explains further. Peter tells me how Gen 2 members were starting some pointless drama, showing contracts that were supposed to be private. These contacts had Peter's real life information on them, so he was saying how they doxed him. He also spoke about how the talents have grouped against him, and the person at the forefront of it was Ed. Yes, Ed. the same person I was supposed to be editing partners with. So Peter then says he first wants to try and settle this in private before going public about the details. So we join a Discord server with all the Gen 2 members and hop on a call. And unsurprisingly, there were some details about the Gen 2 drama that Peter somehow forgot to mention. We found out that during the Gen 2 tryouts, Peter had refused several minors because they were too young, but then went along to accept 2 minors into the company. And the VTuber designs that these minors would have to use were pretty sexualized. When I say sexualized, I don't just mean a little skin here and there. One of the VTuber models literally had a breeding mark on them. And if you don't know what a breeding mark is, it's a mark that's usually found on succubi. Not only that, but Peter wanted to divide the talents into 2 categories, wholesome and lewd, and one of the minors were placed in the lewd category. On top of that, the minor was forbidden to tell anyone about her age. This led to an adult genmate talking to her about very lewd adult topics, not knowing that she was speaking to a minor. And then when the minor went to go talk to Peter about it, he would just blow her off and say that she should be grateful that he is doing the best that he can to promote her, and that she was being over dramatic. Now, after hearing all of the facts laid out, do you want to know what Peter's ultra brain, Giga Chad, Uno reverse card response was to all of those serious accusations? I won't respond until the lawyers get involved. AKA, what you're saying is true, I can't defend myself, so I'm gonna hire a lawyer to argue for me. Peter brought up about how they had doxed him by sharing a contract that was actually an NDA, but the Gen 2 girls punched back by saying that they never in fact signed anything, so sharing it was totally legal. And the fact that Peter was trying to sue them, knowing that they were minors, was insane, which I agreed upon. I'll be totally honest, at the beginning of the call between Peter and the Gen 2, I was trying to defend Peter, giving him the absolute benefit of the doubt. But the more I heard, the more I realized that Peter wasn't the man I thought he was. The call then ended with the Gen 2 girls saying that they will make a public statement soon, and told Peter that they are prepared for anything he throws at them. After the call, I went to DM Ed. Me and Ed were actually pretty good friends, and I was still chill with him, even though Peter had said that he had betrayed everyone in the agency. I spoke to him about how crazy this whole situation was, and how I felt like I was the only one that saw Peter differently after the call, because all the other staff still kept on defending Peter and feeling bad for him because the Gen 2 was shouting at him and ridiculing him, even though he completely deserved it. February 5th, 2022. I see a video from one of the biggest commentary VTubers at the time. With a title as noticeable as VTubers Going to Court, I think I already know what's about to go down. And unsurprisingly, he was talking about Peter and the Gen 2 VTubers. Not only did they make a public statement, they spoke about some other stuff that Peter said/did that made this man look extra shady. In the statement, they spoke about how Peter was found out to be dating one of his talents who was 17, whilst he was 21. The VTuber he dated also just so happened to be the biggest VTuber in the company, and this was because Peter admitted to using YouTube subbots to increase her total subscriber base to over 1,000 subscribers. He also created lore that he had VTuber babies with his VTuber girlfriend. And to top it all off, he would often speak about him liking lollies, which if you don't know, are petite, childlike looking anime characters. If you're wondering what happened next, then I'm sorry to disappoint you, because nothing happened. After weeks of saying that they were preparing a huge response, dismissing all the claims, radio silence. The agency quietly shut down its doors for good, and Peter has somewhat disappeared from the VTuber community. Honestly, it saddens me to know that it had to end like this. I had believed that the agency was really going in a positive direction, but because of a lot of problems in the higher ups, I had to watch as it deservingly fell apart. It's been a minute, but we're back, boys. That's all I have to say. Scram!